Now available for the first time in paperback. Stop Simping in the Workplace. Men, learn what you need to know in order to protect your job from workplace predators with Stop Simping in the Workplace. Available in paperback at online booksellers everywhere. I was sitting at the dinner table with a family member for Sunday dinner when they told me about a young man that they knew and how he had been effeminized and learned how to live and work just like a female. Now, my family member sat down and told me about this young man who recently got a job at a fast food restaurant. And as this young man got a job at a fast food restaurant, he really was not showing how to develop any sort of survival skills or look to build as related to his life. And my family member was telling me that this young man should have gone out here looking for a better job. However, he went and accepted this job mainly because of the way he had been socialized inside of a single mother household. Now, what my family member didn't understand that I tried to explain to him was that when it comes down to today's boys don't know how to work like men, because when it comes down to most of today's boys, they've been raised in single mother households, and as they've been raised in these single mother households, they've learned how to work like women because they have been socialized by women, and because these women believe that they can raise a boy to be a man, they can't see the way they're raising this boy to go out here and enter the world of work is basically putting them on the road to becoming men in crisis. Now, as I explained to my family member at the dinner table, when it comes down to men, the world works differently for men, and when it comes down to the world of work as related to men, men work for different reasons than women do. And because men work for different reasons than women do, this is why our whole mindset as related to getting a job is completely different than women. And it's different because when it comes down to a man in the job market, a job is something that we have to be there for our survival because we're the only ones who can take care of ourselves, and we are the only ones who will provide for ourselves because no one else will support us. Now, when it comes down to a man, this is the reason why when we go looking for a job, we go looking for jobs that will provide us with full-time labor and pay us really good wages, because this is how we are going to make our living. This is how we are going to pay our bills. This is how we are going to go out here and survive. And this is how we are going to lay the foundation for building our lives. This is what men go out here and do when we look for work, because work is how we live, and work is what God wants us to do. That is part of our purpose. And sadly, when it comes down to a lot of young men, they don't get this lesson because those boys don't get taught male survival skills and male life skills. And since they are not taught these male life skills or male survival skills, what happens to these males is because they're growing up under women, they learn female life skills and female survival skills. And when it comes down to the woman and work is completely different for a woman, because work is an option for most women. Work is an option for most women because most women get their needs taken care of by men. And I go in depth on this in my book, Stop Simping in the Workplace. When it comes down to most women get their needs met by men primarily, and they have the job as a secondary stream of revenue. And for them, work is an option. So for them, going out here and taking some of these jobs, like these jobs in fast food or retail, this is something that they're doing for a little side money, because these women basically are consumers, and because they're consumers, they're looking to go out here and get some money for some Air Jordans, for some Gucci bags, or basically to go to whatever place they want to go. because most of their needs will be met by some man, and they know that since their needs are going to be met by the man or the men in their lives, because a lot of these women have more than one stream of revenue. A lot of these women have not only a job with a paycheck, but they have usually a boyfriend, they usually have family, or they have a series of simps that they have, like they talk about in another video called the harem. So women have multiple streams of revenue, but a man only has one stream of revenue, and with him only having one stream of revenue, he needs to make sure that that revenue stream is basically taking care of his bills. And usually most men, the one revenue stream that they have primarily is their job. Now others who are smart, once they get established or start to get established, will start a side hustle to basically bring some extra money in. But usually when it comes to young men, they have to be prepared to understand why they need to go get a job that pays more money rather than getting a fast food job. And that's what my family member really was trying to talk about. And I wanted him to understand that when it comes down to these young men, again, a lot of these young men, they're going out here and they're getting fast food jobs because they really, again, one, do not know how to work like a man, and two, a lot of times, a lot of young men run into something I call the HR brick wall, which is constructed by a lot of women who have taken over the workplace. And when it comes down to those women, they basically don't want any men to come up because they, one, fear competition from men and them basically being able to do better than them. And two, some of these women project all their bad boyfriends onto a man. So that makes it very hard for a male to come in. And when he does come in, this is where the job that he gets. And again, a lot of times they will let him have that job because they see that he has these very feminine traits. And they know that if he has these feminine traits, he's not going to have a mind or an ideal of going out here and of competing against them. Now, my family member was talking about how this young man basically, again, got this job and really was not thinking about anything seriously. And again, that's because he never learned how to work like a man. Because, again, when you have a father in your life and other men to go out here and teach you about the world, you learn that, again, when you have to work like a man, again, you learn that when you go out here and you start working, you have to have a plan for how to take care of yourself, and that starts with you learning male life skills like having a budget to be able to make sure that you can come back and forth to work and have a budget so that you can be able to pay your bills. These are male life skills because, again, this is all about your survival. But when you have a boy who comes from a female-headed household, when he gets his paycheck, the first thing he's thinking about is buying sneakers and buying video games. And then when after he goes out here and blows his money on the weekend, he's running up on brothers at the job talking about, can I get $20 to get on the bus? Again, this is showing you where the guy has learned female life skills and female survival skills, because females look to get stuff from other people, whereas a man understands, okay, if I get my paycheck, the first thing I gotta do is make sure that I either have money for my car fare if I'm riding the transit like here in New York, or if I've got a car, I got money for gas so I can get back and forth to work after I get my paycheck. And then I gotta start putting money away so I can pay my rent and pay my bills. And if there's anything left over, he's going to save that money, because you want to save that money so that you can have a long-term goal like a down payment on a home, or you want to go out here and have some seed capital for your side hustle. You want to have money, again, put away for things. That's what men do when they get money. But when you have a guy who basically is raised by single mothers, he's not thinking about, again, looking to put money aside for investment in himself. No, what he's thinking about is going out here and spending his money to get social currency, whether it be on sneakers as attachments to get attention from people, or video games so he can go out here and play like a child, or go out here and spend his money chasing women. He basically, again, makes no investment in self. No, like the female, he's always thinking about getting social currency and investing in social currency. And that's what happens when you have a boy without a father. When you have a boy without a father, he's not taught these skills about how to spend money, nor is he taught that money is a tool that you go out here and use towards making more money or building wealth. He's not taught these essential things because he's learned from his mother to be a consumer. And as he's learned from his mother to be a consumer, what happens to that boy is that boy, again, learns how to work like a woman. And again, the way a woman works is differently than a man, because a man, when a man works, again, this is something he's going to go out here and make the most effort into. Again, he will be indifferent about his work. He's not going to be emotional about his work, but he will make sure his work is of the best quality because he wants to keep working. But for a woman, she will go out here and invest emotions into things because work doesn't really mean anything to her. No, work doesn't mean anything to a woman because when it comes down to women, again, women know that if they lose this job, they can go out here and get money from one of their other sources of revenue, whether it be their boyfriend, whether it be their husband, whether it be these simps that are out here. She knows that there is a group of men who will provide for her and knows that she will basically be taken care of. But sadly, when it comes down to boys who are raised in single mother households, what they think is that there's going to be somebody to take care of them. But oftentimes they are in for a rude awakening. They're in for a rude awakening because when they quit their jobs, there's nobody there for them except maybe mama. And the relationship a boy has with mama is really codependent and really doesn't help that boy grow into manhood. And a lot of single mothers don't want their boys to grow into manhood because they fear he'll become a man like their father. But the whole thing is, if that boy doesn't grow up to become a man, he's not going to be able to take care of himself. And that's what really impedes a lot of these boys out here when they grow up and they go out into the world of work. They don't know how to work like men. They don't know how the world works for men as related to the job. And 3, they don't know how hard the world is, because when it comes down to the world of work is a hard place for men. It's a hard place for men because in that place where men are having to survive, they have to compete against other men, and a man has to bring his best to the table every day when he's out here. He has to bring his very best to the table because this is how he survives, and this is something that many males don't get because mama basically soft coddles him. Mama basically spoils him. Mama tells him that, you can work just like me. I worked fast food, I worked retail, and I was able to do this. But what the woman doesn't tell you is that she had support behind her from other men that he won't have. And that's why I was listening to my family member, and he was saying, this guy needs to go for a better job. And I have to agree with him. Yeah, a young man needs to go for that better job because this is all about you providing for you. This is all about you taking care of you. This is all about you taking the lead in your life, because that's why you need the better job, because you have to be the one taking the lead in your life, because that's what God wants you to do, is take the lead in your life as a man. Take the lead in your life, and again, take charge as a man, because working fast food, again, that's nice for a teenager or a guy, again, who's in school. But when you are a young man, you have to go and, again, try to look to get a better job, and again, get a better job that pays better money, because again, you're the one who has to take care of you. But sadly, a lot of young men, like the one my family member was telling about, didn't get these life lessons, and that's the reason why these guys basically are in the slow lane, because their mothers thought, they say they could raise a boy to be a man, but they don't know anything about manhood, don't know anything about masculinity, don't know anything about the world as related to men, because the world as related to men is completely different than the world as it is for women. And when you have a boy who's been raised by women, he's basically out here thinking about things from the woman's perspective, as related to, oh, I'm going to work to be happy, I'm going to work to be liked, I'm going to work to have friends. Those are female traits. No, when a man goes to work, a man is going to work to do two things. One is to go out here and be a master and skill as related to their craft, and two, out here to get this bread and sometimes get connections that will move himself ahead. And as he's doing that, he's working towards his goals. And again, his goals are not to move up in somebody's company, but to, again, make sure that this job is allowing him to take care of his own business. Again, men work for different reasons. And again, when a boy doesn't have a father to show him how a man works, what will happen is he will come out here with this female mindset of looking to get his emotional needs met from an indifferent economic system, looking to get his emotional needs met, looking to be happy, looking to go out here and so-called have fun at somebody else's job where you're working for somebody else's money, and go out here thinking that he's supposed to, again, be having friends at the job and all of this stuff, when you're there to compete with other workers. And if you're not having a competitive mindset, what's going to happen to you is that people are going to set you up to get you fired. And again, this young man, from what my family member is telling me, really doesn't, again, understand how the world works. And again, when I see guys like this is the kind of guy I try to, again, go out here and teach, because I saw guys like this at the Strive Job Readiness Workshop. I saw lots of dudes like this at the Strive Job Readiness Workshop who basically wound up coming into there. They were not job ready, and again, basically kept turning jobs over. That was something I saw a lot of, and again, saw people who could not function in the job market because they didn't get the right male life skills and male survival skills, and the males were the ones who suffered the most, because when it comes down to these single mothers, again, they don't prepare this boy for the world of men, and this is why they become men in crisis. Again, men who don't know about not only how to work, but how to manage their money after they work. These are things that boys, again, learn from their fathers. Fathers provide an example of, one, how to work at the job, and sometimes fathers take their sons on the job to show them how work works at the job, and then sometimes a father will go out here and then further teach his son about how to spend money, because some boys don't know how to spend money. They just think, oh, I got this paycheck for $300. That means I get to spend the whole $300 at the sneaker store on some Jordans, or I need to go over to the video game store and get some games, or I need to go out here and take this girl out. That's not what the money is for. The money is to take care of you. And again, the wages you work for take care of you. And if you invest in you, they can pay off. But when you don't have a father to sit there and tell you about the world of work and how the world of work is hard and how rough it is, you start thinking, oh, I'll just go get these easy jobs like fast food or retail, and you'll think, oh, I'll work here, and then this will be a place I'll stay, because females will stay in these places, jump out of that place, go drift from one job to the next, and again, in our gynocentric system, they'll get that pass to jump from job to job. But you as a man can't go out here and jump from job to job, because, again, a man is supposed to be stable. A man who's supposed to be a leader is supposed to have his house in order as related to his business, and he needs to be taking care of his business. And it takes other men to teach him how to take care of his business, and it takes a man to do that again. And again, as my family member was telling me, I was like, yeah, I see what's wrong with this guy. He never learned how to work like a man. And I ran into that a lot when I was working at places like Strive, and I even ran into it at other places like City College. Again, people who don't know how to work like men basically don't understand how the world of work is different from men. And these are the type of males who, again, they come in with dysfunctional ideas like going to work to be happy, people going to work thinking that work is supposed to be where I'm supposed to have my friends. No, this is a place of business. And again, if you're not all about taking care of your business, you're going to come into somebody else's business and play with stuff.
you're going to go out here and mess up your whole life, because again, the time you take out of your life to go work these type of jobs is time you could have had looking for more productive work or finding more productive work that could build up your reputation and your career. This is something that, again, a young man needs as related to guidance. Now, my family member was like, oh, this guy needs to look for another job. And that's another aspect I have with guys I have an issue with. I don't just say go look for another job. I say you have to, because like Anthony Mackie talked about, again, success is given, and you have to give people the tools to go out here to be able to find the better jobs, because when it comes down to all other groups of people, where they give their people the tools to find better jobs. I mean, when it comes down to white folks, they give their sons and their grandsons that entry-level job to get that start, and they give them the tools of the male life skills, again, to understand, once I give you this $30,000 a year job or this $25,000 a year job, this is where you got to show me that you're ready to be able to take responsibility. You're able to handle, again, budgeting your money, able to have a plan for things, because in order for me to move up, you have to show me you can manage taking care of your own life, because if you can't take care of your own life, how can I trust you with taking care of other business and taking on more responsibility? Again, they start them by giving them things. And again, one of the things that we have to do for young brothers out here, as I see it, is we've got to give them the tools as related to manhood, again, because a lot of these brothers in the single mother households, they're not getting these tools. And again, when they get on the job and they mess up, again, it hurts other brothers. This is what I learned at Strive, that when one of these guys screws up at the job by not coming in on time, or when things get hard, he want to quit. That's something a man can't do, because again, when you're the one taking care of yourself, you can't just go out here and say, you know what, I'm not happy, I'm going to quit, because that's what females do. A female will sit there and go out here, get one of these good jobs, and then when the jobs start putting pressure on her, what she will do is go out here and quit, because I will repeat it once more, she got dudes who can take care of her. She can go out here and have all these degrees, and once they start putting the screws to this female, she will quit that job, talking about, I'm not happy, it's not what I want to do. But when you're a man, you can't go out here and start talking about how you're not happy. You can't talk about how this is not what you want to do, because you need to do something in order to make sure your bills are paid. That's what you got to do in this world. You got to be able to do something. And again, you got to learn how to suck stuff up and have that resolve, because this may be the only job you may get for some time, and unless you can get the connections to build to move to, or make a move to another job, because you just don't quit out of nowhere. Females can do that, but a man just can't, because a man, again, this is all he got to take care of himself until God provides him with something better. That's what a man has as related to work. But the whole thing is, a lot of young brothers don't get this, and what happens is that they end up in a vicious cycle of quitting jobs because they're not happy. The boss pushed a button and said something to them. So, and like I heard from the same family member, told me a guy quit a job because somebody didn't call him by his name. Well, again, that's something you just gonna have to deal with on these jobs, because sometimes people just gonna be stupid, but you can't let that get in the way of your paper. That's what I learned when I was working at the Strive Job Readiness Workshop with ex-offenders and addicts and other assorted people who struggled to, again, be able to get one of these jobs and would be grateful for one of these jobs. And again, this young man that my family member was telling me about, again, came from a good family, but again, because he was raised by women, again, didn't understand basic lessons for manhood. And again, basic lessons for manhood, because you have to learn how this job works if you want to survive in the world. And you have to learn how to find the right kind of job, because what works for men doesn't work for women, and the world of work for women is completely different, because women, again, in this gynocentric society, they can quit jobs and basically come back and still get work. But if a man is out here and he quits jobs, people are going to look at him funny, like he can't take care of business. So these are things that a lot of young men are not getting. This is what a lot of young men ain't getting. And again, sadly, leading to a lot of these young men not knowing how to work in the world of work. And again, because they don't know how to work in the world of work, this is why some of these brothers, again, are underemployed and, again, will wind up putting themselves on the unemployment line, by not understanding how they're sabotaging themselves. And this is why, again, I learned all this stuff at the Strive Job Readiness Workshop over 20 years ago, and I still apply a lot of that stuff because I understand now that, again, it's all about your survival in this job market. And again, for a man, you have to have the understanding of how to take care of yourself and take care of your business, because at the end of the day, when it comes down to the world of work, you have to work in a way that takes care of you, and you can't rely on other people because they're out here competing against you. And as you're on your own, you've got to be able to understand how things go. And that's what this young man didn't know. Again, he's out here with a messed up head, again, thinking again about blowing money and having a good time, when he really needed a man to tell him how the world works and how you need to start saving your money. It's just like I did in my classic video, Survival Tips for the Black Man About the Workplace. And again, that video is a classic because I'm telling you what the workplace is and how you're on your own behind enemy lines. And sadly, when it comes down to a lot of brothers in single mother households, a lot of these brothers become their own worst enemy. And as they become their own worst enemy, they wind up putting themselves in a place where they go from being underemployed to downright unemployable. Now, if you want to learn how to identify workplace predators and be able to keep a job and be able to survive in the workplace, you can pick up my book, Stop Simping in the Workplace, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find Stop Simping in the Workplace at other online booksellers like Draft Digital, Barnes & Noble, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And you can also pick up many of my other men's issues books at the same online booksellers. And if you want to see me make more videos talking about the world of work and men's issues, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the link in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA, from the Black Boule, in this all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Coming to paperback and e-readers, Esteem Season of the Witch Girl. The aspiring angel takes on a wicked teenage witch in this action-packed all-new Esteem series adventure. Pre-order your copy of Esteem Season of the Witch Girl at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.